Alright, gonna make a real quick video here because there's not much to say. Giants lose. What else is new? I predicted that, although they didn't look like they quit, at least not for most of the game, but they still lose in their typical fashion. And I said it, you want the correct news, you come to this channel. Okay, what did I say? Jackson Dart, he's going to get injured at some point in the next 2 weeks, and it was this week. Now, luckily, I don't want to say it's just a concussion. Concussions are horrible, but it's not like the Jaden Daniels where his arm got broken or he didn't have a knee injury or he's gonna be out the rest of the season. He needs surgery, so that's best case scenario for an injury. Um, but regardless, still got injured. And why did he get injured? Because it was a quarterback designed run. And also, he might have had his tooth knocked out. It looked like not on a different play when he got his helmet knocked off and he got hit. I think his tooth might have got knocked out. I'm not sure. Um, but yeah, he got injured. This is it for Dable. Now, I don't know what the Giants are going to do. I think they should fire Dable today um, because this is the second time you've lost a fourth quarter lead when you had double digits. You got your quarterback injured, and you can't even say, oh, it was. I know Dart's got to protect himself, but it wasn't like, oh, there was no play and he tried to run and he got hit. This was a designed quarterback run that he got hit on and got injured. So that's on the coach to be calling those. And then, of course, all the other problems that Dable's had, all the weird decisions with the kickers and everything else. So I think Dable should be fired today. And I know that a lot of people go, well, what do you gain by firing a coach in season? I'll tell you what you gain. First and foremost, you get him away from Dart um, because he's going to get this kid killed or ruin his spirit. So you get him away from Dart. And you make Kafka the interim head coach because when you're looking for a head coach next year, he might be a potential candidate. So now you can see him in action and see if he's a potential, viable option to be a head coach. Because let's just say, I know this most likely won't happen, but let's just say they win. I don't know how many games are left, 7. So let's say they win 6 of their next 7 games, or 5 of their next 7 games, and the Giants look pretty good. Maybe you make Kafka the head coach because now you get that continuity because Dart will be in the same offense with Kafka, and then Kafka could just hire an offensive coordinator under him. Do I think that's going to happen where Kafka will become the head coach long term? No, but get Dable out of here. Now, knowing the Giants, and also I think that, well, Dart's got to sit at least one game. He was knocked out cold, which is tough too. He actually recovered the fumble. It came out of his hands. He caught it, and he was going down to the ground. He got knocked out, and then just let go of the ball because he was knocked out. But anyway, Dart has to sit the next game. And honestly, he should sit the game after that with the Lions too. Let him get healed up, not just from the concussion, but he had the hamstring issue. He got the hit in his shoulder. Let him get healed up. Put Jameis Winston in because Jameis Winston plays a similar style of football. Now he's not as good at it as Dart, right? He doesn't run as well as Dart. He doesn't throw as well as Dart, but it's a similar style. He'll try to manipulate the pocket and make guys miss, and he's always looking to throw the ball downfield. Now he does throw a lot of interceptions, but at least he's a risk taker, and that's what you need right now because the Giants are not just going to methodically go down the field. You need a guy who's a risk taker. So they got to put Winston in. Wilson is done. Wilson now is a one. First of all, Wilson can't see the middle of the field, which is where we're getting most of our completions. But beyond that, he's a one read quarterback now, and if that read's not open, his eyes come down to look at the rush and try to make a guy miss, or I don't know. So Wilson is done. Now, will the Giants do this? Who knows? But that's what they should do. Regarding the firings, there's a 60% chance Giants do nothing. They're just going to sit tight, just ride this out, at least till the bye, but probably till the end of the year because they're going to go, well, Dart still looked good before he got injured, and he obviously has a relationship with Dable, and yeah, we're going to fire Dable at the end of the year, but at least let's give Dart another 7 games with Dable to really solidify, how to be an NFL quarterback. And, there's nothing to gain by firing a coach in the middle of the season. That's 60% chance they're going to do nothing. there's a 40% chance probably that they'll fire Bowen because they know that the fan base wants blood, and that's kind of a happy medium, right? It's not as bad as firing the head coach, which is what everybody wants, but it's something. It's something to send a message of, hey, we hear you and we're trying to make changes. Also, the defense hasn't been very happy with Bowen, and you could argue that the losses, some of these losses, um, while it always falls on the head coach because he's the head of everything, but I get the feeling Dable, and this is not an excuse because a head coach shouldn't be like this, but I get the feeling Dable focuses more on the offensive side of the ball and Dart and just tells the coordinator, do whatever, you know. And so you could kind of pin those losses on Bowen, again, coupled with the defensive players seem to not really like him, coupled with the fan base wants some kind of blood. So they 40% chance they just fire Bowen, and that'll be like a little bone that they could throw the fans. Hey, you see, we're making changes. But honestly, I think him and Dable should go. Are they going to do that? You know, I really don't think so. But they should, you know, I think they should. But you know, when do the Giants ever do anything that they should do? And here's what's funny: if the Giants played one more minute of good football, which would be the last 30 seconds of the Cowboys game and the last 30 seconds of the Broncos game, if they could just play one more minute of good football, okay, and get those 2 wins, the Giants would be 4-6. And now that's not a good record, but we'd be in second place in the division because the Commanders have 3 wins and the Cowboys have 3 wins and are on a bye. So we'd be in second place. Now, does that mean we'd be going anywhere? No, because the wild card, I said this, is not coming out of the NFC East. There's not going to be 2 teams. It's going to be whoever the division winner is going, and that's it. So it's going to be the Eagles that are going to end up going to the playoffs. It's not going to be a second team. So whoever's in second place is not going anywhere. But just to have some kind of moral victory of not being in the basement of the NFC East, and we can hang our hat on, hey, you know, things aren't going great this year, but you know, at that point, what is Dart now? 2-5, so he'd be 4-3, so he'd have a winning record, and we'd be in second place, and so there'd be some optimism, progress. Instead, we're 2-8, and we're you know, and Dart is what, 2-5, and we're losing games the same way that we've been losing them, and we're in last place, and it wouldn't even one more win wouldn't even matter because yes, we'd have 3 wins like the Cowboys and the Commanders, but we lost to them, both of them, so we'd be in last place still, even with 1 more win. We would need 2 more wins to get into second. So just 1 more minute of good football to beat the Cowboys and to beat the who's the other team? Man, my brain is fried. To beat the Broncos, and we'd be in second. So it's great, and that's not even counting like the game we gave away against the Chiefs because we have a kicker. I'm not even counting that. I'd say, hey, that's a loss. Or the game we gave away against the Saints because we had to have 5 turnovers. I'd be like, listen, that's a loss. 5 turnovers, you lose. But to have a professional defense not be able to stop another team from scoring for what 30 seconds and 2. Okay, I can understand one time. You're like, they got to us and made a couple plays. Twice in like 6 games? Come on. I think it's twice in 4 games. So that's that. I think Dable and Bowen should be fired today. I think Dart, obviously, he's going to miss the next game because of the concussion, but if he's cleared to go for the Lions game, I think he should sit that out. They should play Winston. I mean, and Winston deserves some playing time. I mean, he's been a team guy. He's good for the locker room. He's the first guy cheering Dart on when he makes a good play. He's the first guy talking to the team when there's a penalty, explaining what's going on. He's so involved in the game despite the fact that he's not even playing. Okay, he deserves to get some playing time. And like people say, Russell Wilson's done. His eyes, he reads one read, and you know that one read's not going to be open. I mean, the Giants have no talented wide receivers. So then his eyes come down, and he's just getting sacked. So fire Dable, fire Bowen, keep Dart on the bench. not for the whole season, but I'd say for the next couple games until you get to the softer part, where we're playing Washington with the backup quarterback or playing the Cowboys who don't have a great defense. And then you can bring him back in to finish like the last 4 games of the season. And hopefully he can win, maybe go 3 for 4, and you can end the season on some kind of momentum. And let Kafka be the interim coach, and you can get an idea of, can this guy even be a serviceable head coach? Because that would really work out. Then you keep the continuity with Dart, and you wouldn't have to keep Dable. So, but of course, typical Giants fashion, they're not going to do any of this. Maybe 40% chance they fire Bowen today. Most likely they're going to do nothing, and they're just going to ride this out until the end of the year. And they probably figure, hey, Dable will have a good relationship with Dart for the rest of the year. Dart likes him. And consolation prize, we'll probably lose more games, so we'll get a good pick. And then at the end of the year, we'll just fire them all, and we'll hire a new head coach to start fresh. And to be fair, you can't complete your head coaching search in season because you don't know who's going to be available at the end of the season. But you can start evaluating some people now. So that's that. And then, who should Shane be fired? Who knows? I'm leaning towards no, just because the health of Mara, he's not going to want to go through a GM search, and it's hard to evaluate this roster because the coaching has been so bad. You don't even know. I mean, like I said, you see the players leave and have success at other teams, so we're looking at this team going, oh my God, this team has no depth and it has no talent or very few talented players. But it's like, is that true? Or is it that the only players that we're seeing that are good on the Giants are the ones that are able to overcome the bad coaching, right? Guys like Brian Burns, guys like Jackson Dart, guys like Malik Neighbors, guys like Dexter Lawrence up until this year, right? They were so good they could overcome bad coaching. The rest of the guys are probably okay. It's just they need to be coached up, and they're not going to get there. So you can't even properly evaluate the roster. So I do think Shane has progressed. Each year his drafts are getting better and better. And, this is his first GM job in a big, tough market. Everybody looks at Howie Roseman from the Eagles. He did not have his first few years as GM were not that good. It took him about 5-6 years to start really understanding how to properly be a good GM and set the team up for the now and for the future. Okay? This is Shane's 4th year, and next year he'll be going into his 5th year, and he's gotten progressively better. Now, I'm not a huge advocate for Shane, but he has brought some players in here. Kayvon Thibodeau has been solid. Jackson Dart, and again, I know that was Dable pick, but he made the deal happen. Jackson Dart, Malik Neighbors, Cam Scatterboo was a great find. Tracy last year was a great find. There's talent here. It just needs to be coached up. And yeah, he had some misses, Neal, but you know what? A lot of teams would have picked Neal. That was a unanimous good pick at the time. And we don't even know, again, can't evaluate the roster. Is it really that Neal is bad? Or is it that they kind of ruined him because they played him at tackle instead of guard and they didn't give him good coaching? And if say the Cowboys had drafted Neal at the same pick, would he be like a solid offensive? We don't know. So you can't hold it. So Shane, I think, stays mainly because of Mara's health and because he's shown growth as a GM. Dable's gone. The whole staff is gone. Maybe it'll be Kafka as the next head coach. If not, they got to get a guy in here that is a former winning head coach. My pick is from McCarthy. Yeah, he's boring, but he'll get us to a winning record with Dart. And then if he can't get us over the hump into the playoffs or deep in the playoffs or to a Super Bowl, we could have that conversation at a later point about who do we go to from there. But at that point, Dart will be so entrenched in the NFL, he'll basically be his own coach. But yeah, I don't think Harbaugh will be available. I don't think Tomlin will be available next year. So who are you looking at? With Gruden, that's not going to work. Flores has still got the lawsuit with the NFL. That's not going to work. So I just, I don't know. But at least McCarthy has a winning record. He's had success. He won a Super Bowl. He's a proven head coach. And he'll coach up the whole team. So that's my pick. We'll see what happens. But again, more losses going to be on the way, especially if Dart's not going to play next week. And he probably won't play against the Lions either. So we'll see.